Kira. Third Monday, not first. Third Monday. Got it. So good morning, everybody. Welcome to our Sunday meditation. My name is Grace McManus. I'm one of the 10 practitioners we have here at the Center for Spiritual Living. So I thought about what was I going to do, and I figured that we're coming to the end of 2021. And usually around this time, people like to put things, away and in the past, and sometimes it's hard to do that. And make what we would call resolutions or intentions for the new year. And I found this really nice Zen Buddhist teaching. I don't know who wrote it, but I really like it. It's a really good story. So it's our time really to reflect on what we need to let go of as we move into the new year. And it's a short story from the Zen Buddhism tradition, which helps us to visualize ways in which we may let go of our worries, our concerns, our fears, and other trepidations we might have. So let us just take a moment to sit back in our chairs, resting our backs against our seats, and loosen all your muscles. So if you could close your eyes, I think it would be helpful, and concentrate on the words of this short story. There was a young man suffering from many worries, problems, and fears. So he approached a wise old Zen Buddhist monk for some advice. "Oh, wise master, I have so much trouble in my life, and it keeps getting heavier and heavier. I can no longer bear to carry all these worries." So the wise master sat for a minute or two and finally picked up a bamboo basket. He told the young man to go to the river's edge and pick up some stones to put in the basket. As the young man proceeded to follow his directions, he noticed that the basket which he had placed on his back was getting heavier and heavier. "Master, it is way too heavy for me to carry this basket. It is making me feel completely exhausted." So the Zen master asked the young man to put down the basket. Then the master took a stone from the basket and said, "This rock is all your worldly possessions." And he tossed the stone into the river. "This rock is all your pleasures of your life." And he tossed it into the river. "This stone represents your loneliness." And he threw that stone into the river. "This stone symbolizes your thinking and your worries about the past and the future. That stone was also tossed into the river. Suddenly, the young man began to feel lighter and more relaxed. The monk then commented, "Do you know why you are unhappy? It is because you are carrying too many thoughts inside your head. You are thinking of your rank and your status, and that is making you anxious. You are thinking about losing and winning, and that is making you exhausted. You are dwelling on the problems you have in all your relationships, and that is causing you great suffering. You are feeling pain and hurt in your heart that you have held there for a long time." So the monk concluded, "Picking up all these negative thoughts causes you great heaviness in your heart. Picking up these thoughts is like adding more stones in the basket." So by practicing every day, and I think this is an important point, because sometimes we forget to do that, to practice this idea, we can train ourselves to let go of anything that does not serve us. Then everyone's heart will be lighter. The joy you feel will make you float like a balloon, and all is well. So for the remainder of this meditation, what we're going to do is I'm going to ask you to take up any stone you might have or of concern about your life and throw it into the river. Then experience the lightness in yourself. And I will pause now until I ask you to come back into the sanctuary. Now, as we come back into our present space, you may open your eyes and experience that joy in your heart. Be sure to remember to practice this form of release every day. Thank you. Namaste.
Merry day after Christmas. I hope everyone had a wonderful holiday. I have some announcements. As the new year approaches, I want you all to think about the volunteer opportunities that we have available. We're looking for a Sunday service coordinator. Speak to anyone on the board. The bookstore is looking for volunteers. Talk to Sudra. We're looking for someone to do the offering count every Sunday. There's a sign-up sheet outside in the hall. Hospitality is always looking for volunteers. Talk to Bob or Gary. And the tech booth can use your support as well. Talk to Clay. There's training and support for each of these opportunities, and it's a great way for you to be of service to your center. Monday meditation continues 12 noon on Facebook with John and Jackson. I have a correction to your Sunday bulletin. Swami Sankarananda will be back, but it's the third Monday, not Thursday, of each month starting in January. So we really look forward to having him here. The first course of our new year is set for next Sunday. It's called Setting the Course. It'll be with Reverend Scott Thompson, and it's from 2 to 3:30 here at CSLP. Thank you and welcome to everyone. Karen has an announcement.
Again, have the little invitation for next Friday morning at 5 a.m. At Unity, we'll be doing the World Peace Meditation, also known as World Healing Day, that started in 1986 with John Randolph Price's commentary that he did, and I had a few extra copies. So if someone says, well, I can't be there because it is a little early, if you want a copy of the prayer, I'd be happy to share it with you. So thank you.
Well, good morning again, and we are going to go into our invocation right now. So rest easily in your seats. I know that there is only God, and God is that frame of mind, that consciousness which dwells in the entire universe, and that we are one, and that God brings to us this idea of peace, harmony, love, joy, and many, many other attributes. And as we begin this service, I send out that word and that voice of gratitude and blessings for a wonderful service and for all the people participating and making this center work. I know this is so. I send it into the divine law, and so it is.
Hey, happy Boxing Day, everybody. This is an Eddie Watkins song. What an important message. And sometimes so hard to hold on to, or so easy to not believe. And so this song is really useful when you need a little help in remembering that all is well. You can just sing this little tune. should.
Whoa! Jackson, you always know how to liven up this place. And all is well indeed. Oh, and hello and welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living. Oh, it is so beautiful to see all these shining expressions of love and light and joy. And so to each of every one of you, I wish you happy holidays as well as a happy new year, because this is our last Sunday service before the new year. And so it's just a delight to have you here. We here at the Center for Spiritual Living, we provide spiritual tools to help make this world a better place. Now, my name is Hazel Bowman. I am today's service leader. I'm also one of your circle of practitioners that serves this center. With me today is Grace McManus, who has been serving as our practitioner of the day or practitioner on duty. Beautiful pre-service meditation, Grace. I loved it. Looking forward to the in-service meditation. Please know that wherever you've been, whatever your life experiences have taken you, please know that you are entirely welcomed here today, just the way you are, and just the way that you perceive or hold yourself in judgment that you are not. Because I can assure you that we here see you through the divine eyes of love, and we see you perfect and whole and complete in every single way. But sometimes that's not always your personal experience. It's like, whoa, I know you say that, but that's not resonating within me. So we have some wonderful ways of helping you change your life, change your thinking. As mentioned, that we give you spiritual tools. One thing that we practitioners love to do, well, you can tell we love to do so many things, can't you now, these last few months? You can tell we're enjoying being practitioners of the day, service leaders, guest speakers. We enjoy teaching, we enjoy workshop, but most of all, we enjoy praying. That's where we remember for you until you remember for yourself. And here's some ways on how to do that. You'll see in the seat pocket in front of you, there's a little blue card, little kind of lavender. It's called our Ministry of Prayer. What you can go ahead and do, we also have these outside. Just go ahead and fill this out. Share what it is that you're wanting to experience, what you want to know. But here's the thing on these Ministry of Prayer lists, all right, to be on our Ministry of Prayer list. You'll see at the bottom, it says, I accept and embody. You see, some people have a tendency to take the position, well, I put it on the Ministry of Prayer list, I'm done for my day, and then it's just like everyone else can do the work for you. No, what we want you to do is put down what it is you're accepting and embodying this week. It could be health, it could be vitality, it could be abundance, it could be peace, whatever it is. Know that that is your affirmation that you are saying every single day as we remember for you, as we have you on the Ministry of Prayer list. You can put these Ministry of Prayer lists. There's a Ministry of Prayer box right outside. So just put it in there and Grace will collect them and then she'll share that with all of the circle of practitioners here. There's also what we call 3-minute miracles. And that's where you have an opportunity after service, for anyone who's wearing the purple stole here, it shows that the practitioners in service, come on up here. Share with the practitioner what's going on. Now, we're not interested in the drama of the story and all the he said, she said. What we want to know is what it is that you want to experience. Maybe there's been some discord in your life, whether it be from peace or health or whatever it is. Let us pray that into the knowingness of God's true thought for you. You can also meet one-on-one with practitioners. So just, we have a list of practitioners in our program book and everything, so you can certainly have a chance to meet one-on-one with a practitioner. And those generally are about an hour session. That's where we really have a chance to go a little bit deeper into connecting with that divine that is within you. The beauty is recognizing the divine within you is not just held by us here at the Center for Spiritual Living. There are so many ways to connect with that one presence. So with that, I invite our candlelighters to please step forward. perfect. Thank you. And so what I'm going to do here is, you see, the Center for Spiritual Living honors all faith traditions. As we light a candle for the world's religions, it is to acknowledge both our multiplicity and our unity.
We light a candle for Christianity, based on the teachings of Jesus the Christ, who taught the path of love, forgiveness, and healing by the presence within.
For Islam, the practice of submitting to the will of God as revealed to his prophets, peace be upon them, who taught that there is one God, the creator of heaven and earth.
For Judaism, a community of shared laws, traditions, and family ties, which began with the covenant between Abraham and God.
Yes, for Buddhism, the middle path that ends suffering and awakens mindfulness and compassion.
For Hinduism, the path of knowledge, action, and devotion.
For Native American traditions and those who walk the good red road, including the people of the sun that we know as the Yavapai.
For Baha'i, the path of unity and peace.
For the goddess traditions, embracing the divine feminine as maiden, mother, and crone or wisdom keeper.
And for the science of mind, which is the philosophy of life that teaches there is a power for good in the universe and we can use it.
And so that we can go ahead and anchor that within our own hearts, let us go ahead and say our affirmation together. We are here for God. Our purpose is to express the nature of God as love, abundance, and joy in everything we do. The good we seek for ourselves is what we desire for all people everywhere. And so it is.
This is a Karen Drucker song. Sing this with me. I see the beauty, I see the power in you, I see the greatness in you. So it is. I see the child in you. I see the sweetness in you. I see the softness in you. And so it is. Well, I can see it. It's right there before me. And I feel it deep in my soul. I just know it. You are an angel full of magic and power and pure sweet love. I see the goodness in you. I see the wisdom in you. I see the strength that's in you. And so it is. I see the joy that's in you. I see your light shining through. I see the love that's in you, and so it is. Well, I can see it right there before me, and I feel it deep in my soul, and I just know it, that you are an angel full of magic and power and pure sweet love. I see the grace that's in you. I see the courage in you. I see the heart that's in you. And so it is. I see the beauty in you. I see the power in you. I see the greatness in you. And so it is. I see the beauty in you. Yeah, I see the power in you. You say, I see the power in you. I see the greatness in you. God that's in you. I see the power in you. I see the joy that's in you. And so it is. And so it is. And so it is.
So let's take a moment and let's reflect on those words written by Karen Drucker. When we look at anybody we see, or anything for that matter, we see that beauty. We see all those God qualities of love, harmony, peace, power, strength. Let's take that into our hearts right now and remember that every time we encounter something that maybe might not look quite right, but underneath it all, there is that love. We'll take a moment now to be silent. Now, as we end this brief meditation, try to hold some of those thoughts in your heart today and keep it with you for the rest of the day and anytime during the week if you remember what God really is. Thank you.
I'd like to welcome the soloist today. The soloist is you. Give yourselves a hand. Oh! I'm starstruck. So we had the Christmas service last week, and after doing the Christmas songs, I was like, man, I want to do more Christmas songs. And so I did a quick vote of a few people. I said, what if we do Christmas songs on the day after Christmas? And people were like, that's a good idea. So I said, that's good that you think so, because so do I. So I just want to do a couple Christmas songs with y'all. Sing this with me.
That was beautiful. Thank you, Jackson. I love Christmas songs all year round. And how wonderful it is singing that particular song. Isn't it beautiful? And when we say that Jesus is Lord at his birth, we'll just remember that Jesus said that we were his sisters and brothers. So that also makes us lords and lordesses. Is that a word? So we are there. What I have the joy to do now is we have an awesome guest speaker. I'm going to share that with you right away. And one of my double pleasures here is that it is rare for me, and I've introduced a number of guest speakers, but never one who is a recent newlywed. We have a new bride here. You've been married, what, about 3 weeks now? About that. So isn't that wonderful? So it is great. And we are just delighted because we are joy-filled when Reverend Ronda comes to visit her brother and sister-in-law in Prescott Valley, because that means we have an opportunity to see her. And she is just so magnificent. Now, when you talk to Reverend Ronda, you're going to find out she'll say that she has been on a spiritual quest for her entire life, which doesn't surprise me because anyone who's been on a spiritual quest knows that there's no finish line to that. There's no finish line. There's no official graduation on that spiritual quest. But we do celebrate with her because she has informed me that she has received notification that she's been accepted into a doctorate's program in religious studies. She'll be getting her PhD here at ASU, Arizona State University. She has been the senior minister of the Center for Spiritual Living in Hemet. However, right now, due to the wonderful changes going on in her life, she is moving to Tempe. Actually, I think she's moved already and everything, so isn't that super? With any luck, maybe it means we can see her more frequently. She is a beautiful person inside and out. She is a gifted speaker. So why don't we welcome this wonderful woman, Reverend Ronda.
Thank you, Hazel. Thank you, Hazel. That was absolutely beautiful. Thank you, sweetie. Thank you. So good morning. How are you? I see you all survived Christmas. Did you go to the early sales this morning? No, I don't either. I'd refuse. It's like, I do everything through Amazon.com. It's like, forget it. So I just want to tell you, you guys are awesome. I mean, you are just this beautiful, shining star. I mean, I walk in and it's all shining and new, and my gosh. And you know, when we go into what I know you all have been experiencing, because of course, as Hazel just said, I just left my center. And it's an emotional journey, not only for the congregation, but for a spiritual leader. And so what we know in consciousness as a group of that one mind that is God's mind, which is all of our mind, we know that there is this wonderful, greater good that is unfolding for each and every one of us, not only the spiritual leaders, but for you, the congregation. You know, I look at 2021 and I think, the beginning, I thought, okay, what's going to happen? And that's always a question we think, well, what am I going to experience? What is going to, be unfolding for me? And we never know that life is going to change as drastically as it does. And it's such a gift. And sometimes we look at change as not a gift. We look at it as, oh God, do I really have to go through this? And what happens is change happens. Get over it. It just does. And the reason it happens is because we're supposed to be this amazing spiritual being that is continuing to grow and expand. And we get in our own way and we dig our heels and go, no, I don't want to do that. That means that everything would be different. Yes. Yes, exactly. It's exactly what it's supposed to be, is different. And the reason why we go through so much pain with change is because of our resistance. And if we just allow ourselves to get in the flow, to just be with it, to grow and expand with it, it'd be so much easier. But we choose not to. We choose to stay sometimes in our own stubbornness, in our own, well, I know better than what is trying to come through. And, you know, the source of all that is, or as I like to usually say, the God of our understanding says, okay, I'll wait. And when you finally figure it out, we'll do it together. Because what it is we are constantly doing things. We are co-creators with that source, with that love source. But we don't always get it. We don't realize that we are this beautiful, beautiful entity of love. You know, I did some homework on all of you. Yes. And I realized that in the beginning of the year, you set these beautiful themes. And a couple of the themes were timeless vision and evolutionary wisdom. And then, of course, every month, you created a theme around something to support not only the spiritual community, but yourselves individually. And so the theme for, of course, this December is the journey of becoming. Well, from what I've experienced in the last hour with this beautiful community, you all have arrived. and as Hazel said, it's a continual journey. You don't stop. You don't stop on your path and say, okay, this is it. I'm just going to lay down right here and make a nice little nest and, you know, decorate and move in. You can't. Because spirit is always going, it's always flowing, it's always in, through, and out all things. And for you to be stagnant is ignoring your higher good. That's not what spirit wants. Spirit wants you to continue to grow. And yes, it's uncomfortable. You know, in ministry, we usually say, you know, we comfort the afflicted and we afflict the comfortable. So it's my job, as it is all spiritual leaders and practitioners, to afflict you, to move you, to create growth, to create this beautiful magnificence that is wanting to breathe and run through you. Because you're not supposed to play small. You're supposed to be big. That's what it's all about. So, as I said, I have experienced your beautiful, expanding selves. And what I know is that this center has surrendered. It has surrendered and said, you know what? We let it go. We let it be. Whatever is our highest good, whatever our highest potential is, this is what we know to be true about us and beyond these doors. We have surrendered to all that wants to come through in here, through us. The next thing is you all have explored love, not only on an individual level, but you're exploring it as a community. Because when you have things that sort of disengage, things that need to go to grow, that is when you are being called to your highest magnificence, to your greater yet to be. It's not just about the group, it's about each of you being part of that group and lifting each other up and expanding. That's what you're doing. You're continuing to spiritually nourish this beautiful, beautiful center, this beautiful center of well-being. And so you've also, in all of this, you're creating a sense of peace, a sense of harmony, knowing that all that is done in ease and in grace. And of course, we celebrate with joy. We celebrate that being of joy because we are lifting ourselves up. We are celebrating that love that we know is right here and right now. So, yes, it's hard to grow. It's hard to know that we need to expand. Because, as I said, we always look at it as, what's going to happen next? Do I do this, or do I stay safe? One of the things I like to teach are these, it's called 3 S's. If it doesn't support you, if it doesn't serve you, and if it doesn't create safety within you, so long. You need to say goodbye. We each are called to create our experience of our life. And you can have, you can do, you can be whatever you want to do with it. But so often we say, nah, I don't want to do that. It's too much work. So then you sit and you say, well, what am I going to do with my life? What's my purpose? But yet, you are being called. You are being called to be something greater. You know, we often think that other people need to change, and we also look at God or that spirit of understanding, and we say, well, when God changes, I'll change. God never changes. God never changes. We do. We are the ones that change. We are the ones that expand. And you know what that comes from? Love. This beautiful, beautiful world that we live and be and sit in was all created because there's love right where we are. I want you all to say something with me. Or actually, I'm going to say it, and then you're going to say it back to me. I create my experience in joy and gratitude. I expand my heart and my attitude. Okay? I create my experience. I create my experience. Yes. In joy. And gratitude. I expand my heart and my attitude. Let's do that again. I create my experience in joy and gratitude. And I expand my heart and my attitude. Okay, that's the mantra for the year. Okay? You expand your heart and you create joy. Hey, you got it all. You got it all. So, one of the things that we do, and as Hazel addressed earlier, is, this thing called prayer. And each and every week, I know that some of you will fill out those little wonderful pieces of paper. And as she talked about, and I want to really support the practitioners in this, because they're so important to this center, especially right now. I mean, right now, these beautiful individuals, they are the healing arm of the center. But y'all are making them the arms, the legs, the head, everything, and the shoulders. Because you're building everything on them. You're saying, you know what, I'm filling out this little piece of paper every week, and I just know that, as Hazel said, they're going to take care of it. So I'm whole, perfect, and complete, as we say, right? There's a wholeness. Well, there's a half to the whole. You're part of that other half. So yes, they've got you. They know the truth that is being revealed in those beautiful prayer requests. But you gotta meet them halfway. You have to believe the same way. You have to believe with that same conviction, that same heart, that same truth. And when you know without a doubt that what you have put down on that piece of paper is already done in the mind of God, which is your mind and God's mind together, that one truth, it's going to happen. And I can give you an example. So, was it Thursday? Thursday, my husband and I are on our way back from California with some of my stuff that he said, you know, honey, why don't we just buy this? Why do you have to cart it over here? I'm like, but it's my stuff. You know how we're attached to material things. But anyway, so we're on our way over, and we get about 28 miles outside of Phoenix, and all of a sudden, the heat gauge on our Suburban starts doing the little creepy thing, and eventually gets to the red. So we have to stop off at the rest stop, and he's looking at it, and we're getting the water, and it's dry, and I'm like, okay. And he says, all right, we'll fill it up with water and see how we go. Well, then we get off on this really dark off-ramp. It's Winterberg or Winter something. It was winter, definitely. But it was dark as night, which it was. And he looks at the engine again, and he goes, okay, we fill it up with water again. And he closes the lid, and he goes, okay. He says, we just have to get, back to Tempe, and we'll be all right. And I said, okay. Well, once a practitioner, always a practitioner, right? So I very quickly do a nice prayer, a quickie, and I say, okay, I know this engine is cool, I know the way is clear, and I know that we get back home and everything will be fine. So we get back in the car and we go down the road, and I'm watching each off-ramp, and we're going, and we're going, and we're going, and I'm like, yes. And but I'm knowing without a doubt that that's what's taking place, is that engine is remaining cold because I want to go home and I don't really want to deal with a tow truck. So that's my truth. So we're just going along, and we get home. And we get out, and as we drive into the driveway, and of course it slowed down and it started to creep up again. We park the car and get out, and my husband, he's a retired United Church of Christ minister. So he gets out, and we walk around, and he kind of looks at me like, has this little sly look. He goes, did you pray? Me? Why would I do that? And he says, I thought so. I said, all things are possible with God, right? So that's what I mean. When you know the truth of a situation, it has to happen. Because God says, okay, I hear you. It's going to happen. It's going to do its thing. And it does. So when you fill out those pieces of paper, know with the same conviction that your practitioners know for you. Meet them. Meet them in their wholeness. So, what does this evolutionary wisdom mean? And that was part of your theme going into this year. Well, Ernest Holmes, our founder, he said, you have the power to draw upon the great reservoir of infinite wisdom, capable of solving your every problem through the channel of an all-inclusive faith. However, such faith is in action only when you have completely surrendered all your doubt, resentment, and all your fears, whether they be big or little. Remember, faith is natural. Fear is unnatural. Faith is positive. Fear is negative. Faith is affirmative. Fear is a denial of life. Yes. So often I like to use acronyms, for fear. It's like one of my favorite ones is forget everything and run. Because we do. We get so afraid of what we don't know about the unknown that we go, forget it, I'm just going to run away. And what happens is we bring it with us. Grace was talking about, that bag that guy was pulling the stones in? Well, yeah, that's our stones. And we just keep lugging it along and dragging it with us, along with all the other dead bodies that we've created in our life. And we do that. We drag things with us that we don't need to do. So you have the power to draw upon this great reservoir of infinite wisdom, capable of solving every problem through the channel of an inclusive faith. That's what Science of Mind is. As Hazel spoke of, that's what the candles simulate. That we are a faith, a philosophy, and a way of life that acknowledges all faiths, all paths to God. There's over 2,000 religions, and there's probably a new one born every day. Because the reason why is because somebody else always has a better idea. I mean, when you think about it, long ago in a galaxy far, far away, the Zoroastrians started everything. And then it went to Judaism. And then everything sprung out of Judaism. It was Christianity. And then everybody else said, you know what, I've got a better way of doing this. Let's do it this way. Let's do it the Lutheran way. Let's do the Methodist way. Let's do the Science of Mind way. Let's, do the Christian, whatever it is. But we have, if you think about it, we have one father and many mothers. Because everyone is giving birth to a new idea. No one is wrong. Everyone is right. Think of it as at a soul level. You were all called to this faith, this philosophy, this way of life because something within you resonated and said yes. Something within you said, you know what, that's the way I want to be. That's the way I want to live my life. That's the way I want to be with the God of my understanding. And what's wonderful about it is I can go and read a book about Hinduism, or I can go and read a book about Baha'i or anything else. And I can say yes to it. And I can drink from its pages or its sacred text and know that I am spiritually nourished. But yet I'm anchored in a faith and a philosophy that allows me to have that freedom, and I don't have any guilt. I don't have to worry about what other people think, because what happens is now I can meet you where you are. I can have that conversation. And isn't it wonderful when we can have those conversations with each other and say, you know what? Your God is pretty cool too. It is. I want to know more. I can't tell you how many times I have sat with people of different faith traditions and said, please tell me more about who and why you practice what you do. Because there's something about that divine presence that I want to expand upon. I look at it as this beautiful essence that is multifaceted, that is open to all. And when we drink from that well of faith, of belief systems, whatever you want to call it, we are lifted up. We are able to expand our hearts. And you know what? You think it might create a little bit of harmony in the world? A little bit of peace if everybody said, hey, I like what you talk about. Tell me more about it, brother and sister. Because we truly are all connected. So, it is not being afraid of being who you are on a spiritual path. It's being able to say, you know what? You're different from me, and I'm different from you. But we have a commonality, and that is love. Because when we look at all faith traditions, it all comes from love. It truly does. So your next theme was about evolution. God, as Ernest Holmes says in the textbook, he says, God operates through what we call the law of evolution or unfoldment, and we are subject to this law. It is not a limitation, but it is the way through which freedom and individuality express. There is an unfolding principle within us that is ever carrying us forward to greater and greater expressions of freedom, love, joy, and life. Everything evolves. As I said, everything changes. It has to. Can you imagine if everything stayed the same, how boring that would be? I would just, can you imagine? Okay, imagine the world one color, purple. Let's just say purple. So everything was this monochromatic experience. We are all amazing in our colors. And I'm not talking skin. I'm talking our personalities. I'm talking about who we are as individuals, who we create, and who we be to one another. We are a gift to one another. We are each individual colors that shine and go and flow. And each of us are able to dip our paintbrush in and paint the world a whole different way through our experience of each other. So when we continually change, when we continually look at opportunities to be able to be even better, not only are we growing spiritually, but we're growing as an individual. I can tell you from personal experience that leaving my center after 12 years was very, very difficult. It wasn't a decision that I made very lightly because I love my people and I loved my board. Before I left, we were able to, and of course, I know we've all experienced COVID on a different level, but one of my visions was that I knew that probably the family was not going to attend so much, and I mean all of you, because you're the spiritual family. You know, we're all still kind of like a little bit timid about, being together. And so I went to my board and I said, let's go outside the God box. Let's become a cultural center. Let's become a center of activity. Because that name, it says Center for Spiritual Living. Yeah, it is a center for spiritual living. That's not just a phrase we use. It is all about living, not just spiritually, but creating. So I said, let's do this. And I have this amazing, amazing president. Her name is Renee Johnson. And she took the ball and she ran with it. And we got everything started. And before I left, I was able to see yoga classes. I was able to see painting classes, quilter classes, all kinds of different fairs that were coming in, things that people could no longer attend because other places in Hemet were closed. And we decided to be open. And so what happened is, all of a sudden, and of course, we're not square, we're round. So we're two domes. And so it was easy on that end where we were able to say the domes, and everybody in Hemet Valley knew, oh yeah, the domes, or I won't tell you what else they call us. I'll leave that to your imagination. But because we were such an icon on the face of the desert floor in Hemet, people went, oh yeah, the domes. So they would come, and they have their parties and their whatever they wanted, or even other churches would have their gatherings. And that, as a mom to so many, filled my heart that that was able to be fulfilled, that it is, I'm not saying it was, it is. It's a continually vibrant center. It continues to grow, it continues to flow long after I've left. And that's what we want. And that's what this center is too. It is continuing to grow and flow in its spiritual magnificence. And so that goes with the timeless vision. That is a beginning, it's not an ending. Visioning and being able to see, that's your highest good. There is no restrictions on time. Time actually really doesn't exist. We just make it because we decide that we have to have clocks or cell phones, God calling. But the reason why we're so into time is because we're made aware of it. But actually, everything is timeless. So whatever you're creating is timeless. It's your time. It's divine time. You are the vision casters, my dears. You are the true vision casters for not only yourself, but this beautiful center for spiritual living, this beautiful Prescott Spiritual Living Center. And so I want to ask you all a question, but you don't need to answer it out loud. What are you wanting this year? What are you wanting to release? Speaking of visioning, what is your vision for not only this center, but for yourselves? What do you need to release? What do you need to let go? What do you feel is prohibiting you from being your higher good? What is it that you want to know right now? And don't be afraid to ask that question. Don't ever be afraid to ask that question. What is mine to know right now? What I do constantly is I say, okay, God, what am I to know? What is mine to know? What is mine to know not only on the outside, but on the inside? What is reflecting back to me? What is it that I need to know so that not only can I be this amazing person for myself, but for the world? So that is my charge to all of you. What is it? What is it that is being called to you? That for whatever reason you're making up a really lame excuse for it, that you cannot do it. And if you come to me and say, well, I can't do it this way, I'm going to say, oh, yes, you can. Yes, you can. When you have conviction, when you know without a doubt that you can do what you want to do, it'll happen. As I know that for this beautiful center, it is constantly growing and knowing and expanding. You know, often we look at things that in our lives, if they're falling apart, it's like, oh my God, how do I get all the pieces? But actually, my dears, the pieces are all falling together, but they're all different. And we have new things to work with, new toys to expand. And so, what is it? What is it within you that wants to come forth? And not only come forth within you, but it will come forth through this center. Because we're all attached, we're all connected. So I leave you with that. What is that truly wants to be expressed? Because you are an expression of love and joy and peace and ever-expanding God. This I know to be true. And so let us just take a moment to come within. Knowing that divine presence That divine love exists right here, right now. I know it exists in all faiths. I know it exists in all temples and ashrams, family, friends, and our furry family as well. I know all is divine. And what I also claim and accept is this beautiful center, the spiritual center of Prescott, is in the flow. Oh my gosh, is it in the flow? It is in the flow. It is in the no. It is in the yes. It is in everything. It is expanding. It's expanding in love. It is expanding and just, it goes beyond the beyond. There is healing and there is revealing and there is truth right here, right now. God is right here, right now within each one of us and each one of everything. There is not a spot where God is not, that flows through us as us. And so what I know is that divine presence is love. That divine presence is light. That divine presence is here and now, and it just keeps growing and flowing to the great beyond. Spirit is working through each of us, through each of you, to the highest magnificence. And so what I claim and know is that as we approach this new year, it is not an ending, it is only the beginning. Because that's what it is time doesn't exist because it's an infinite existence. Our soul is an infinite existence. We are never born and we never die. Therefore, we continue to go and we continue to flow as I know all that is. And so I claim the highest good, not only for ourselves, for myself, for the center, but for the world. Knowing that as we enter into 2022, there is peace in the world, there is harmony, that all that has been is left behind. That we enter a new consciousness of the mind, the body, and the spirit. We enter into a new consciousness of wholeness, of working together side by side. It doesn't matter where we came from. We are here now. And that now is love. I claim it. I accept it. And it is what it is going to be. And so it is. Yes. Amen.
Wash over us. We lay
and we let it be. And isn't Reverend Ronda awesome? Can we give her another hand? I just love you, Reverend Ronda. Now that you're in Tempe, maybe we can invite you up here more frequently. Would love to see you often. And you know what she was sharing about all of us letting our own light shine, our magnificent. That comes through in so many ways. It comes through with our gifts of talent, our gifts of time, our gifts of energy. We see the gifts of love, such as Bob, who does our signing for us, and the hospitality in every area. But there's also another area that we can seek your support, and that is financially. And to keep this center continuing to thrive, continuing to bless everything, every person that passes by our door, that ripple effect, is now our time to make a donation to the Center for Spiritual Living. Now, perhaps you've already made your donation. You can certainly do so online. I think there's some information already being shown on Facebook, but how you can donate online at cslprescott.org. And there's the give page. You can also text the information, and that's also being shown right now online. But you can also give personally. Oh, what a concept. And we have a wonderful offering box that is right outside our sanctuary doors. But what I'm going to ask you to do is that to take your love offering, to take it and just place it over your heart. And I really want you to think about these words here, because they really mean something. Because we're talking about God, Spirit, that is always working through you and manifesting in everything. So let's say it together. Divine love in and through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, life. And thank you, Jackson, for once again leading us in music.
You gotta thank the soloists for coming back.
They're going to thank the soloist too for coming back.
So this is CSL Prescott's last Christmas Carol of 2021, y'all. So sing with some gusto. It goes like this. Joy to
I agree with Nancy. Let's stand for joy.
What?
Let's stand for joy. I agree with Nancy. She's standing up. Let's all
Down
sing
with
it
that.
together.
Here we go. Joy to the world, the Lord is come. Let earth receive her King. Let every heart prepare Him room. In heaven and nature sing. In heaven and nature sing. In heaven and nature sing. Joy to the world, the Savior reigns. And their songs employ of fields and floods, rocks, hills, and plains. Repeat the sounding joy. Repeat the sounding joy. Every day the sounding joy. He rules the world with truth and grace, and makes the nations prove the glories of His righteousness, and wonders of His love, 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 and wond
Give yourself a big hand. All right, thank you, I love those. Thank you so much. You can be seated. All right. Now, one of the things we love to do is to welcome people to our center. So if this is the first time that you're attending, or maybe you haven't been around for a while and just want to reintroduce yourself, we would love to have you stand up and mention your name and maybe where you're from. Now, you cannot nudge each other or anything like that, but please feel free to do so. Do we have anybody here who would like to stand and introduce themselves? Anyone at all? Sabrina. All right. Sabrina, such a pleasure to welcome you. And you know what is great? Sabrina showed up. She did not know that Reverend Ronda was our guest speaker. They know each other. And so it was like reunion week for them as soon as they saw each other. So Sabrina, thank you so much. It's just a joy to have you here. Well, with that, I know this is my favorite time because this is where we can invite in the children, the awesomeness of the children's here. Please come on in, the Children's Association of Awesomeness. This looks cool. Someone's got to share with me everything that's going on. Who wants to go first? All right, Seamus, go ahead.
So today we talked about Kwanzaa because today's the first day of it, and we made makakas, which is the mat that they place the candle thing, the candle holder on, and put all of the things that represent Kwanzaa on.
The candles mean, the green ones mean, the green candle.
We talked about
The green candles mean the future, and the black candle is the people, and the red candles are the blood of slavery.
We also, the children talked about how the light is so important through all of the holiday celebrations, because we started out with Hanukkah, then they did an Advent project, and then Christmas, and again, we have the light.
Oh, I love it. And could you all show the group here? Look how talented these young people are. Look at that. Isn't that great?
This was their first time trying to weave anything, and they did a super job.
Awesome job. Oh, I just love how Spirit shines through each of them. So let us know that Spirit is shining through each of us as well. And I invite you to stand, and we're going to be saying our benediction. If you wish to hold hands, you may do so, or just do that beautiful, just kind of holding it out. But let us go ahead and say our benediction together. Something wonderful is happening through me right now. It is happening through my mind, my body, and my affairs. I think it, I believe it, I feel it, I know it.